Good afternoon. Before I introduce our newest member, I'd like to mention that the Membership Recruitment Committee is meeting immediately following this Rotary meeting today. And it is not just limited to those of y'all who are on the committee, but anyone who has any ideas for potential new members, please stop by. It'll be very brief and give us their name. If any of the guests today, welcome. And if y'all have any questions, we're happy to answer anything you may want to know about Rotary. We are keeping the membership streak alive. We are now at week 19, and I want to emphasize that that's thanks to each of you in the room for bringing guests, thinking of folks, and talking up Rotary. So my heartfelt thanks, and please let's keep it up and shine the light to others, illuminating how great our club is. And now it is my distinct honor to introduce Stacy Wilson to you all. Stacy, if you will join us at the front of the podium. As you can see, she's accompanied by, as I have affectionately dubbed them, the dream team of sponsors. We have Ellen Cockrell, Tanya James, and Catherine Young. Thank you, ladies, for getting Stacy here. Stacy is the Chief Revenue Officer for the Little Rock Chamber of Commerce, where she is responsible for strategic partnership for the Chamber's membership development, event programming, and leadership Greater Little Rock portfolio. Stacy is a graduate of Clemson University with a BS in management and a minor in marketing. She is also a graduate of the Leadership Greater Little Rock program and is a sustainer of the Junior League of Little Rock. She has served on multiple nonprofit boards, including the Gaines House and Ballet Arkansas. In 2019, she chaired Ballet Arkansas's annual Turning Point Gala, and in 2015, she was one of Soiree's Women to Watch. In her spare time, she enjoys golfing, running, and family time. Welcome to Club 99, Stacy. Congratulations.
Thank you, Sue and Molly. As she said, our new member streak is still alive at 19 weeks. Congrats, Stacy. It took three of us to get you here, but we're glad you made it. Welcome to Club 99. It does take a village, so remember that as you're recruiting. If you need to partner with others, let's continue to do that and continue to introduce folks who need to be here to the Club 99. There will be a board of directors meeting immediately after, 1:15. Next door at the Clinton School. So that'll be in the porch conference room. If you're able to join for the membership meeting, you can do that as well, but just do that and then come join us at the board meeting. Reminder, there will not be a meeting here at the Clinton Center next week. So remember, no meeting here at the Clinton Center next week. However, if you've signed up for the Broyles Award, or if you've signed up for one of our fireside chats, you'll get notified where you will be for those meetings. But it's not too late to sign up for either of those two. I know we told you last week, we thought it was going to be Thanksgiving was your last chance. We're giving you an extra opportunity to sign up. But today is the very last chance for both of those. We do need to know if you're going to sign up for the discounted rate for Broyles Award. I know we'd like to get a few more of you to do that if you will. And then two, if you're not going to do that, but like to still have a Rotary experience next week, please sign up for your for the fireside option. For those of you that are new to Rotary, it's a really cool way to learn about other people's businesses and their workplace. There will probably be, 8 to 10 of you in a location. You'll have lunch together. They'll have a chance to show you their office, maybe kind of get a sense of their culture. And so please do that if you're not coming to the Broyles Award. Today, we'll have our second quarterly panel series, thanks to our program chair, Chris Bond, for this great idea, impacting Little Rock. And we're hoping to tie in volunteer opportunities with those. I think you'll find out after today's panel that it's pretty obvious what we're going to want you to do. Either get involved with these folks who are doing these amazing things, or sign up for our Dunbar mentor programs, or our literacy lab. And so it's pretty obvious what we're going to try to steer you to on that front. but we did a homeless panel about 2 or 3 months ago, and we're going to give you an opportunity to sign up to help with that area of need in our community as well. Some of you may recall that we had a Salvation Army Red Kettle campaign experience through Rotary during President Kenny Gibbs' year. For those of you who didn't join in that fun activity, we're going to give you a chance to do it again. What we're hoping you'll do is turn out and ring the bell on Saturday, December the 10th. We'll have 2-hour shifts from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. You can sign up for those either for the Midtown Kroger at 8415 West Markham or at the Kroger on Rodney Parham near Breckenridge Village. Feel free to bring your children, spouses, friends, anyone that you think may want to serve with you. The sign-up sheet will be at the front table where we get the badge boxes. It's being organized by Rotarian Amy Mines, so thank you, Amy. Please look for her afterwards for the sign-up sheet. I know Chris Bond has been a part of this as well. If you'd like to ring the bell, but that date doesn't work for you, they will help you find another time to help out and to support this important cause. So thank you, Amy, for coordinating. Appreciate it. Finally, before my Illuminating the Rock story today, I'd like for Ellen Cockrell to join me for a brief presentation. Sorry, Ellen. Many of you may recall, Ellen was essential to the success of our Club 99 dinner parties. She organized all the hosts and locations and helped ensure a fun evening for all of us. She also secured some really cool special James Hayes glass blown light bulbs for all of our speaker hosts. Its own message with our Illuminate the Rock theme for the year as well. So thank you, Ellen, for that. And for her efforts and for her dedication to Club 99, I believe, and many of us believe, she deserves one too. So Ellen, you get your very own James Hayes light bulb today. All right, go ahead and open and show it to everybody. Yeah. All right, thank you. So now that you know what we're doing, there may be other ways that we provide a little, as Kenny Gibbs would say, a little lanyard. There might be ways you can get one as well throughout the year. So continue to look for ways to serve and give back and be part of what we're doing here at Club 99. As many of you know by now, during our La Petite Rose Tricentennial, I will spend my year as president telling unique stories about our region's past 300 years. Before Thanksgiving, I shared the story of the Concordia Club, the Jewish social club, and all its storied history. Today, I'd like to share the unique story of another historic Little Rock social club. I bet most of you have never heard about the Athletic Association of Little Rock. It was founded in the late 19th century, and for more than 60 years, it was simply known as the Boathouse Club. It owes its origins to a group of 4 young gentlemen who gathered regularly at the Bernay and Maxwell Men's Store in the Capitol Hotel to discuss how they might best spend their leisure time. The Bernay and Maxwell store was made popular by their creative advertising that appeared in local newspapers during the 1880s. Their meetings led to the founding in 1882, that's, I think my math's right, 140 years ago, of the Athletic Association of Little Rock, later known as the Boathouse Club. They began with 40 members paying $25 annual dues, quite a discount from what you're all paying for Rotary, to enjoy the club facilities from 5 a.m. to midnight. Many of those founding families went on to develop the Little Rock metropolitan area that we enjoy today. Membership peaked at more than 250 members. The Boathouse Club predated the Country Club of Little Rock by 20 years and quickly gained prominence as the social hub of the city. The club held debutante balls, vaudeville and minstrel shows, dances, softball games, bowling, swimming, and diving competitions. The Boathouse Club even had a football team that traveled and competed all across the South. They had the fastest racing sculls in the Mississippi Valley, with crews competing from the Great Lakes to the Gulf of Mexico, living up to their name, the Boathouse Club. But what they were really known for was their Labor Day regatta. on the Arkansas River, headquartered in their posh club headquarters at the foot of today's Main Street Bridge on the Little Rock side. That first regatta was held in 1883 with men only competing in boats named for the most popular boathouse club debutantes. The club was a popular lodging location for famous athletes visiting our city. It was even leased to the federal government during World War I to house naval officers in training on the river. Sadly, the club was plagued by fires in 1887, 1920, and 1938, and eventually ceased operations in 1945. However, the Arkansas Boathouse Club rose from those ashes in 2006 with a clubhouse and boatyard at the foot of the I-30 bridge in North Little Rock. They had really nice workout equipment, designed, of course, for rowing, and an impressive fleet of boats. That facility is no longer in operation, but another boathouse facility has been proposed for the River Mountain Park near Two Rivers Park, just down past the Big Dam Bridge. This multi-million-dollar facility will be an incredible addition to the rowing community here in Central Arkansas. And Rocktown Outfitters will rent you a kayak there if you want to check it out. Under the name Rock City Rowing, the Boathouse Club brought back the 60-plus year tradition of Labor Day regattas in 2014 with the inaugural Six Bridges Regatta, governed by the U.S. Rowing Association. More than 400 rowers from across the South competed in 65 racing heats. It was a huge success, and it's become an annual event. The final race of the regatta is a salute to the old boathouse tradition, a sprint between the best of Little Rock and St. Louis. Even UA Little Rock is getting in on the fun. They started a UALR club crew a few years ago and are in the process of reviving the club since the pandemic has subsided. They recently took a group of students to the Two Rivers Park area and are working to reestablish the row club. Earlier this year, Episcopal Collegiate School started a club as well, becoming the first competing secondary school in Arkansas. Rock City Rowing is still going strong. In partnership with Rocktown Outfitters, they recently completed their 2022 Glow Row, an evening ride with boats lit up with glow sticks. The pictures on their Facebook page look amazing. I wish I'd been there. But wouldn't it be fun if they could do that under a well-lit Broadway bridge? That would be another fun way to illuminate the rock. And that's our Illuminating the Rock story for this week. And now I'd like for Jay Gadberry to introduce our special quarterly panel series program today. Jay? We'll clap for you.
What a pleasure it is to have this group here today that contributes so much to the city of Little Rock and the city of Little Rock youth and the pillars of youth social justice. But anyway, Mitch Bettis is going to be our moderator, Arkansas Business Publishing Group. He heads that, and you don't know what all that he does behind the scenes, supporting, helping these youth programs. I'm familiar with just a few of them, but I know that he's heavily involved, and we appreciate all that he does. Thank you, Mitch. One of our panelists is Larry Clark, Sr. He is founder of the nonprofit Life Skills for Youth in 2007. LSI is designed as a support system for kids and their parents to provide a safe alternative in the community for children through mentorship, resources, skills, and location exposure outside of their own neighborhood. Coach Clark, he's a lot of fun. Coach Clark and the LSY team has served over 3,800 kids, helped over 1,700 families, and served well over 1.5 million healthy meals and snacks to the kids in the communities. Thank you, Coach Clark. Since 2007, high school seniors enrolled in his program mentorship have a 99.99% graduation rate. That's awesome. Another one of our panelists today is Raymond Long. Appointed CEO of Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Central Arkansas in 2021, previously served on their board of directors. Big Brothers and Sisters mission is to create and support one-on-one mentoring relationships that ignite the power and promise of youth. Their promise is to make bigger impact on the lives of children, families they serve through strategic partnerships, innovative programs, and initiatives. Raymond was also a 40 under 40 in Arkansas business recently, and recently was appointed by Governor Hutchinson to the Juvenile Justice Coalition and the U of A Pulaski Tech Board of Directors. And last but not least, Fitz Hill, Dr. Hill. I learned about Dr. Hill 15 years ago when he was at Arkansas Baptist, give or take a few years. He brought him from 400 students to 1,200 students. And what I learned at the time, 800 more students. What I learned at the time, use of that demographic, if they were in college or they were out of college. And if they were in college, they had a 20% less likely chance of being involved in the legal system for that year. In other words, just Arkansas Baptist College and the things that they're doing saved us 200 different people from being involved in the legal system. So just one thing that these guys do makes a huge difference a lot of times in what's going on. Fitz is also works with New Life Church, the Dream Center. He founded the Derek Oliver Research Institute for Prevention of Gun Violence at Arkansas Baptist College. He's fully engaged in City Serve. I think they've served 2 million lunches in the last 5 years here in Little Rock. He's also involved in Little Rock School District Athletic Foundation, which started 6th grade sports. They were sending these kids home after school. Now, this year, we've got 190 kids playing football at the 8 junior highs. And they're engaged, and we've got 40 volunteer coaches at the 8 junior highs. And the coaches are with them 4 hours a day during the week, at lunch one day, and then 2 hours on the weekend at playing football and learning so many things. We also found out that when a kid is involved in that program over the last 5 years, not one time has one of those kids been involved in a disciplinary action during football season. But we're also involved in the 6th grade sports, volleyball, wrestling, and some other activities. So these guys are all heroes, making Little Rock a better place. And I appreciate you guys coming. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay. We appreciate the big crowd, and I'm going to go through a few questions just to sort of tee up this conversation, but we're going to break in the middle of this and let you ask questions, because I have a sneaky suspicion once this conversation gets rolling, you're going to have a lot of questions about what works and how do we make an impact and how do we change lives and how do you get involved. And so if you got a question brewing, get ready. We're going to tee that up here in just a minute. And briefly, I'll echo Jay's points. I've gotten to know all these men. I consider us friends. Fitz and I have known each other a long time. We're both Arkadelphia boys and Ouachita Baptist boys. So we've known each other a little longer. Over the last couple of years, I got to know Raymond and Larry, and I can tell you all three of these men get up every day, think about how they're going to make an impact, change this community, do something impactful, change the life of a young person. It's a really beautiful mission, and they've done great work, and that's been a lot of fun to watch. And I'm excited when we have leaders like this who do this every day with such heart and compassion and character. It's a way to make an impact, and we're going to talk about that today. So Fitz, we're going to start with you. There's a good chance the bulk of this room has never had a mentor, a kind of a assigned mentor in that kind of classic sense. may not have a full understanding of what even mentorship is. So I guess maybe tee this up a little bit about sort of what does mentorship sort of look like? And in particular, why is it even necessary to be having this conversation?
Thanks, Mitch. Appreciate it. Good afternoon, everybody. So grateful to be here to share information that can make our community, state, and nation safer. But we're at the stage of mentorship now, possibly, well, not possibly, I know, because of really the breakdown of the family. So as you look at the mentor for particularly underserved males is more important today because the father is not in the household as he used to be. Consequently, that's why we got involved in mentoring to replace that figure. And if you look at statistics throughout the country, that person being involved in the life and replacing that mentor, which these individuals are doing with their program, is invaluable when that person is not there. And this is where I learned firsthand for volunteering for coaching 5th and 6th grade football for my son at Little Rock Christian. So we're playing throughout the community at Little Rock Christian. I just thought that's common. I could send an email to a family, which I'm the football coach for Little Rock Christian 5th and 6th grade Warriors. I could send out an email to the families. Everything happened. They go to Sports Stop, buy the equipment, no problem. They show up and we play. Pulaski Academy, that's where my girls went to school. Little Rock Christian, that's where my boy went to school. All right. Well, I get on the state board 6 years ago when Governor appointed me to the board. And so I'm going to visit the middle schools. Well, I found out, as Jay said, that they didn't have 5th and 6th grade athletics. So where did the mentoring piece go in our public schools for the activities? So those individuals who were getting the mentoring at those places were not getting the mentoring in our institution. So when you send a kid home after school in 5th and 6th grade, 11, 12, 13 years old, and he doesn't have anywhere to go, like I said, if you want kids to do better, you have to give them something to do. And that's what mentors do, because you then give them the structure of love, instruction, and guidance. And kids, once the 3 things that we found from mentoring, the first thing you do, which is biblical, if you feed them, they'll tell you. You give them food, they'll come back. All right? Do you love them? All right? And then you can tell them what's the best things for them to do to go on. And that's what mentors do. And we do it all in a different form, different fashion. I'm a football coach. All right. So that's where my expertise is in coaching football. These others have programs, but I knew that we could get 200 young men to come out who didn't have opportunities to play sports and embrace them with something that they want to do for activity. And as Jay mentioned, that's what I coach the mentors, the 40 mentors to do, is to play with them, practice with them 2 weeks after school, eat lunch with them once a week, and be with them on Saturday. That's a sacrifice because you can't go to a Razorback football game for 6 weeks, okay? All right? You can't go to the golf course. You have to invest in our kids. And once you do that, then you get the return on decreasing the violence in that institution. That's what the mentorship is focused.
Appreciate you setting that up. So Raymond, same kind of conversation, sort of, what would you say mentorship looks like? But in particular, your organization nationally has a lot of data on the effectiveness of mentorship and what happens when we invest in the lives of these young people who may have gaps, may have suffered trauma, may have suffered loss, may be a single parent, may have some need for mentorship. There's a lot of data out there that says how this can be impacted. So maybe how do you see what mentorship is and what data supports that mentorship is an effective tool for impacting the life of a young person?
Yeah, thanks, Mitch. And once again, Denver, thanks for providing this opportunity for me to speak more about the work that we all love to do. And so mentorship to me is it's an adult serving as a champion, as accountability coach for a young person who needs that type of support, right? Or who wants that type of support. And, Big Brothers Big Sisters of Central Arkansas, we're an affiliate of Big Brothers Big Sisters of America, an organization that's been around for 100 years doing this work. And in 1995, Big Brothers Big Sisters of America decided to make its model evidence-based. And so they hired a firm by the name of this Philadelphia-based research organization to do research all over the nation on the impact of mentorship. And this study is updated every 7 to 8 years, and the numbers are consistent and have been consistent. And so first, I'll read some numbers here that are connected to what we call self-sabotaging behaviors. These are red flags that show the potential for more, violent offenses, right? Like some of the things that are currently happening in our community. And so, researchers found that after 18 months of spending time with their bigs, little brothers, little sisters, compared to those children not in the program, were 46% less likely to begin using illegal drugs, 27% less likely to begin using alcohol, 52% less likely to skip school, 37% less likely to skip a class, and then 33% less likely to hit someone. And those are the numbers that kind of people enjoy hearing because they speak directly to the issue at hand. But the numbers that I really like focusing on is what we do from a positive standpoint, right? How we impact young people's self-confidence. Right? And the study shows that, despite the barriers that they face, right? Despite the insurmountable odds, 94% of littles, they have a mindset. Right? This is when you get into social emotional learning, that they're confident that they will achieve their goals. 93% of the littles in this study who said to have adults who care and look for them is very important to help them achieve their goals. And 87% of littles felt like their bigs helped them out a lot. And so there's growing amounts of data. Here recently, Big Brothers Big Sisters of America performed a study in which Big Brothers Big Sisters of Central Arkansas was a part of, funded by the Honor Ventures, where they actually took 1,300 young people across the nation, and they put them into an actual control group. This is a 4-year study. And so some of the highlights from that information is 54% less likely to have been arrested versus the group of young people that were not involved in a Big Brothers Big Sisters mentorship program. 41% less likely to have engaged in substance abuse. But once again, I always like to focus on who we're transforming young people to be, how we're tapping into their God-given potential to be great, just like the rest of us. And the study shows improved self-advocacy, more hopefulness about the future, greater likelihood of visiting a college, a reduction in aggressive behavior, improved self-control and social skills, increased grit, increased school engagement, more consistent discipline by parents, right? Taking the whole child approach. And so I'm always a fan of saying in every room, we have to do mentoring, although it looks different at Coach Clark's program. It looks different with what Dr. Hill is doing on the field, but we have to do mentoring a standard way, right? Because there's an evidence-based way that says, hey, we can get the results that we're looking for to impact our community on a long-term basis.
So Coach Clark has a tremendous after-school program that he created and runs in Southwest Little Rock, and I toured it, I don't know, a year or 18 months ago. It's a model program. It really is pretty spectacular. And so you see every day the need Dr. Hill just talked about.
Yes.
We know the data supports it.
Yes.
But when I was at his facility, you just watch, and it happens on the field too, with Fitz. I watch these kids run up to him and the other adults there, and they love them and appreciate them and love that attention and love that structure. And you're filling a void that's really powerful. And you were telling me a couple of stories. We know the data works, but you were telling me several stories of people, because you've been doing this a long time. You now have folks who have been through your program and are graduates and in the professional field. So can you share a couple of stories of how this really works on a personal level, some success stories?
Well, first of all, thanks for allowing me to be here today. And I love him and what he's been doing, especially when he was at Arkansas Baptist and focused on literacy. And Raymond, been knowing him since he was a little boy. And I'm proud of him, the way he turned out. So first of all, we talk about mentorship or being a mentor. You got to commit. You got to make a sacrifice. And that's all I have done is make a sacrifice. When you go out to my website, my tagline is mentoring youth for tomorrow. You said, well, what do that mean? Well, I got them today. if I got them today, they're okay. But what do I put into them, or what do we put into them to where you never see that child again? You got them ready for tomorrow. And that's what we do. And like he'll talk about, number one, feed them. Our number one program is our feeding program. You feed them. Number two, you love on them. And for me being a Black man, I didn't have my father. My mother and father divorced when I was out in 3rd grade. But I know she made sure that I was around positive males. She had 6 brothers. 3 of them I couldn't be with. 3 of them I could be with. I'll let y'all figure that one out. So even that, you have family members that will make good mentors. Some would not make good mentors. But today, what I'm seeing and what we've been doing, we have partnered. Big brother and big sister have partnered, because just like I was telling Mitch, Mitch is my big, and we go fishing, we go to the movie. I'm in the 3rd grade. When I go to school, I won't listen to that teacher, but I'll listen to Mitch. So Raymond and I talk. Raymond got bigs that come out to the program now, because these kids love those bigs. And so when they come out to the site for an hour, can I read for you? Yes. Hill, sports, Coach Clark. I've been playing sports, coaching sports all my life. We know what sports does for an individual. We know what level it helps that child go to. But what if a child don't want to play sports? So I love technology. I'm retired software engineer from Blue Cross Blue Shield. My son, young son, currently has his own drone company. There's things, gaming, there's things I'm gonna tell you what you need to do. Let me tell you this. When you become a mentor, ask that child what they want. Talk to them. Don't go in and say, I want them to do this. Get to know that child. That's all they want, for you to get to know them. Ask them what they want. And I had a mentor, a volunteer come out at our Saturday Academy. She came from Conway. She came on the first Saturday of the month. And she just said, Coach Clark, I don't feel like I'm making a difference in this girl's life. I told her, I said, I'll tell you what, you missed one Saturday, and I'll let you know. Now, she missed a Saturday, that first Saturday. That young girl came to me and said, Coach Clark, is Miss Johnson dog okay? I said, her dog? Now, this young lady and this volunteer or mentor has been talking, they done talked about everything, from even her dog that wasn't doing well. And so she thought the reason the volunteer didn't show up is because her dog had passed away. And I said, you're making a difference in that child's life. Even if it's just once a month on a Saturday, you have made a difference to where that girl came to me and was concerned. Said, is her dog okay? I said, let me call her, because I didn't know she had a dog. So commitment, I mean, we're talking numbers. I love numbers because I love math. I love, like I said, I'm a software engineer. I love numbers. I love what Hill is doing. We all have partnered. I know Hill and I are looking at those students. I want to challenge myself. We talked about this. I want to find those students that are really having problems. And my big thing is when it comes to that commitment, prevention, I'm very big on prevention. I'm sorry, I do not ask me to do prison ministry. I don't do prison ministry. I do not want to see these kids in front of the judge. And since I've been doing this since 2007, I have only one student that went in front of the judge. And I did not like what I had to do. I had to be a character witness. But that kid got off, and those are numbers I want to keep low. I want to make sure that we are not doing
And
that.
just for context, I can't remember exactly, but that day I visited, there was probably 200 kids that are part of that program. So you magnify that over that many years, that's the kind of impact we're talking about. that can really change the life of a young person. And I should make a note, this group knows that our club is knee-deep with Little Rock School District and literacy efforts. Coach Clark was at some of these original meetings and went to the mountain and been integral in that process. Dr. Hill has been at those original meetings, and Raymond came on to his role in the middle of our process, and they are knee-deep in partnerships with AR Kids Read. So there's a lot of alignment in the mission here. And I think what you're hearing from Coach Clark is that this is personal, and the data is persuasive. At the end of the day, there's a personal commitment to one another that really moves this forward. And so sort of Fitz maybe characterize this. If you had to say, when are you seeing that mentorship is needed? Is this 1-year-old, 3-year-old, 5-year-old, 8-year-old? Where do you see the needs are the greatest in this journey? Where do we need to be doing triage right now in order to make sure we're making the most impact?
Yeah, the data, as he speaks to exactly where you want to focus your efforts. And based on the research that he's saying, here's and we're here today because we're talking about really the violence growth in America, in the whole country, Little Rock, Memphis, all over the world. All right, that's why we're here, to have this conversation. And so when he's talking about mentoring, you look at this I look at it as a medical deal, because I lost a father at 51 to cancer. My brother died of cancer at 41. So I realized that I have to take care of myself because I'm in a classification that could really be susceptible to having cancer. Well, it's the same in violence. The homicide virus that's going, if you look at the communities, I can tell you on the heat map where your violence is going to be in America, almost to 98%. Unlike going to war, being sent as an officer to Kuwait, don't know where Saddam is going to be, don't know where it's going to be, trying to find bin Laden, don't know any of that. I can pull your heat map today and tell you where 98% of the violence is going to take place in the United States and who's going to do it. Because if I sit here and I told you, we need to invest in the 2% of the population that's responsible for 50% of the violence, what would you do? That's where we have to go. That's where we have to deploy. It's kind of like when we're trying to find bin Laden, what do? We send our very best. We don't send our worst soldiers. We send the Navy SEALs, and the president of the United States watches this. The tactics that they are orchestrated to go in and find this person. When we want Saddam, we find weapons of mass destruction. And how do we do it? We send our very best. That's what they're saying with their mentors. Don't send somebody. You want somebody who wants to be there, and you want the very best. So in doing that, you invest that mentorship, you invest social choice-wise, I call it moral decay, education-wise, you already know. That's what they're saying. Drop out, a dropout will drop in somewhere. He's not out of sight, out of mind. He finna drop in. All right. Economic investment in the community. Why is it so hard to get investments in underserved community when you see that that's where all your problem is coming from? Because fourth, it creates the environmental detriment that's leading to the problems of the homicides that we're seeing in Central Arkansas, in Memphis, all around. So the mentorship has to go to that specific 2% of the population if you're serious about reducing the violence in our country, that 2%. So we know who they are. How are we going to approach to deliver these programming to the 2% that they have, knowing the game plan to execute with the facts that they have? We know how to do that in that 2%. So that's where we have to place it. I'm gonna say this and I'll let it go. I saw 2 weeks ago when we saw the nukes being possibly shot in North Korea, how America showed its power when it was flying around with these planes. That's over there in the peninsula. And then when I see what's going on in our country and all the violence, because today alone, 25 African-American males will be murdered in the United States of America because they didn't get this. Multiply that, almost 8,000, another 23,000 will be shot. Because why? They don't get this. So why don't they get this is the question when we will give it to somebody else across the pond.
So we're about to let you ask a couple of questions here, so get ready. I don't know if we need a microphone. I don't know how we did this before. You can speak loud enough. If when you're ready, I just want to make one point, just to state the obvious. 3 African-American men and a whitey. Most of the room here is Caucasian. And you're talking about the significant problem in the inner city in the African-American community. But that's not all that is served at your place as well, in your place. I sat at the table at your event the other day. I forgot Jesus's last name. What was that? Bledsoe. Yes, Jesus was at his event and met his mom, but he had a white mentor. So I don't, if there's something you can speak to that, like saying, all right, well, I don't understand an African-American male and inside the loop. It's inside. I can't relate. I can't connect. That's just not the case. And you've seen that. Is there a way to kind of articulate that for this crowd here, that they can impact a life even if they haven't lived the same life?
Absolutely. We're all connected one way or another, right? Sometimes you have to do the hard work to find it, right? And sometimes, right, being a Caucasian individual, you may need more training or more support to support, a child in the Black community, right? And that's okay. A lot of times our backgrounds are different, different socioeconomic statuses. So it's not bad to be in that position, right? Which is why that's, if you look at the collaboration that's happening between mentorship, which is why Big Brothers Big Sisters is saying, look, we need to be, the community has to become known for mentoring, right? If you're not a mentor right now, right, you have to sit back and think, well, why not? Right. And one thing you will probably say is, well, I don't have the time. Right. I don't know how to connect. Right. Or you may question, well, what type of child am I being involved to? Right. But if there's thousands of people giving those same excuses, right, then what does mentorship look like? Right. It looks like the 50 kids at Life Skills for Youth waiting on mentors. Right. It looks like the gap in coverage after the football season is over, right? It looks like the 300 kids that are in our system officially that have said, hey, we want a mentorship. Yeah. And so come through an agency that has training set up to support you, right? You don't want to run. And I think this club has done some mentorship with the Little Rock School District. And if you really poll the people that were probably involved, they'll probably run into a situation where they were saying, when I ran into a situation or I got some feedback from a child that I didn't know how to handle it, right? But it was because, right, we were attempting, and everybody tries this, we were attempting to do mentorship outside, right, of a formal relationship, right? And informal mentorship, it doesn't work unless, right, there was already an established relationship, right? Or you're somebody like Dr. Fitzhill who has the ability to pull the type of mentorships that you need to come to that football field, right? Does that answer your question?
I think so.
I could go on and on.
No, I think that's right. So questions?
Can I?
Oh, yep. Hold on.
Yeah. I just want to piggyback on Dr. Hill. Whatever we do, let's bring our best. Because what I see sometimes is just like we shortchange. And like the area I'm in the Southwest, I just did a RFP for the city of Little Rock. And in the proposal, I'm in what they call the hot zone, a hot spot in Southwest Little Rock, 72209, 72210. People, please quit acting like you don't know where it's at. We got to send the money there. We got to send the force there. We got to send the help there. That's what we got to do, because for some reason, sometimes we don't get, like he said, I know where the next crime gonna occur. I know. So we got to get over there, get out there and help. Now, the area that I'm at also, we're talking about Black, white, and Latinx. So we got to help that. And I don't know, I'm still missing something. And he'll talk about something that I'm just gonna go there about these kids are not getting in church. And what I read about Jesus came to help everybody. I don't remember him start talking about certain color. I hadn't had a problem at all relating to a white male, a Hispanic male, a Black male, an Asian male, and it goes on. I hadn't had that problem. Move that out the way. Quit saying, I don't know their culture. It has nothing to do with that. How far we need to drill down, the question was asked. I do K through 12. I want to get them when they're little. So I can make that impact when they're little. Please, this is not hard. This is not hard. Mentorship is not hard. So don't think it's hard.
Excellent. Question? Yes, sir.
Mentioned the hot zone, and we know where the spots are and the impact. It doesn't seem to make sense to me to apply the same curriculum in a focused hot zone. Are there alternatives that you have or that you feel the district can make to focus on social structure and focus on things like mentorship within those hot zones to help develop those young people?
That's what Mitch was talking about initially. It's just like when you're trying to build a structure, because understand what research will show you. And as you go back and look at data, all right? And you know, feelings are not facts. Facts are facts. This is what he's saying. So as you look at the data, there is a direct piece that you can look at to what has created that environment in the set you're saying. So what I'm saying is that stabilizing that environment, because here's what happens when the kid is extrapolated from that environment. He comes to school. Well, he can tell you right now, that young man or woman dealing with post-traumatic stress from that environment, from gunshots all night, come to school jittery, don't really know how to do it and respond. So you know what has a tendency to do? They suspend him. All right. Now, what are you sending? You send him back to the same environment which created the behavior that's causing for him to be expelled. So what I'm saying for that situation from a mentoring program, what we're saying is that you cannot send a child which is low literacy scores, okay? All right, already, he's behind, then you suspend him. All right, then you bring him back, give him zeros, test him, pull the test down of the whole school, and it infects that whole community to that sense. So what I'm saying is kind of like going in combat. First thing you do, you secure the area. All right, so when you're going into that community, you have to stabilize that with people who make it feel safe, because that's the reason you end up saying you call it a hood, because the neighbors are no longer there. And so how do we put the neighbors back in the hood? We go to that hood, what they're saying, to not stay away from it. It hadn't always been that hot spot. Think about this. In 1960, you didn't have this problem in Little Rock. 1950, you didn't have this problem in Little Rock. In our country, you realize that the homicide in Little Rock, in the nation, increased 81% from the decade of the 60s to the 70s. And you know why? It's to what Clark was talking about, the moral decay of our communities. And that's what, if you're going to really try to build that infrastructure in that community, the moral climate, the education, the economics, and which creates the environment is what has to be done. If not, that's why you see the community decomposing. And I'm going to tell you what's so interesting. As prisons increase, schools close in those communities. And it's crazy how that's continues to correlate. And then when I go to these different urban communities and I see prison gyms better than the public school gyms.
So there are, and the school district folks here could probably elaborate on this, but things like we have a partnership in the spring, the Rotary Club does, with Washington and Stevens Elementary. They're in the hot zone. No doubt about it, squarely in the middle of the hot zone. They're 21st century school programs. I'm looking for the right language. There are federal grants to provide after-school programs already in place and some extra services in those schools because they're in hot zones. So that may not be curriculum per se, but there is some acknowledgement that there are extra needs that need to happen, and there are some resources
Hey,
being
And Mitch, let me
deployed.
just echo this as I was talking to, we worked with Superintendent Poor, and when he was there, when he came in and stayed, it is oftentimes what we don't understand. The underperforming of the schools has to do with where the community they're living in. So when you go back to that community, it's the problems oftentimes. I was over what the kids say, Coach, so-and-so was murdered last night, just like it was standard operating procedure. You know, so now you think that kid's going to perform, and we have to create that better environment. And unless you just extrapolate them, that's why some going to boarding schools to take kids out, because you know what we found? Much of the violence, what you look at, majority of the kids come from foster care. That's why you have called back to the moral issues of that's happening. So it's a very complex issue that we didn't get here overnight. We got here over the last 50 years. So the strategic alignment with the data, what he's saying on what we have to do to target that improvement, to make that first down, to move the ball down the field is what we have to continue and take the guidance and leadership from here.
Let me get Aaron Lubin here. He was trying to ask a question a second ago.
Yeah, my question, I think your programs are great and you're helping kids great and mentoring. But as you know, the data shows that these kids have to go back home. And they're coming from single parents, no parents. I wonder what you're doing to help educate parents on parenting or any kind of social services to help these kids, because you can do all the mentoring in the world. And if they're going back to that and they're coming to school hungry, it's a tough challenge.
So Aaron's asking the age-old question about what we affectionately know as wraparound services.
Yes, actually, we started a parent academy back on February the 22nd, 2020, right before COVID hit. I'm glad we got the money to hire a part-time parent coordinator because a lot of the parents needed, because we shut down, we shut down the whole summer, school picked back up, but a lot of parents needed support throughout that COVID period. And of course, mental health is big. And so we make sure we have that wraparound service to take care of those needs. And one thing that I always tell a child, and I see, and I really make a point, me and another female staff sometime, because you're single mom, we make sure we visit that home. When we go to some of those homes, they don't have furniture. They don't have food in the refrigerator. So we need to know, and just like what Hill and Long were saying, and we try not to, even at LSY, we really try hard not to suspend, because we just send them back to that environment and the parents not changing. Now, when I was coming up, if I got in trouble at school, please don't call Miss Bobby. Please don't call my mama. Now these kids, like, I don't care. Call my mama and my daddy, or whoever, my guardian, my grandmother, because we got a lot of grandparents that are raising kids. We call them big mamas. They're raising those kids. So it's very important that we have created this wraparound service. And the program that God has blessed me with, it's called ATM, Anger, Time, and Money Management. I've been doing that program since 2009. Once again, I have data to show every kid that came through LSY, that came through that program, number one, are not getting into behavior problem. They're doing well in school. And we need to start teaching these kids how to manage their money, but also how to invest. So all these things we are doing. So we have those wraparound service.
So we need to, I want to be mindful here of time. I hope the big takeaway is that A, you're needed. The requirements are that you love, commit, invest time, and everything else is going to take care of itself. There's training that's available through Big Brothers. There are organizations that can provide structure, and that can make this easy, just like Coach said, just like Raymond said. I know you've got one last word of wisdom here to kind of take us out. So
Yeah, thanks, Mitch. I just want to just both of those questions. Keith first. Short answer to your question, yes, There's culturally responsive curriculum and techniques, right, that are made for the demographics that we should be targeting, right? But at the foundation of all of that is you have to have the willing heart, the relationship, right, to make that work. All right. The wraparound service question. I'm sorry, I don't have your name. Aaron, the wraparound service question. The Big Brothers Big Sisters model is so it's deeper than I think Central Arkansas realizes, right? And so the entire point of what we do, the reason it takes 30 to 45 days to match a child is that we're interviewing the child, we're interviewing the parent, we're doing a risk protective inventory that gives us data about the different wraparound services that we can connect the parent with, right? But I'll be honest about that challenge. Parents are not as impressionable as children. Right. Parents are working, most of them 2 jobs, most of them have issues that they're facing themselves. And so the foundation of what we do from a mentorship model is it's that social emotional learning piece that's going to help the child deal with sometimes the reality of what their situation may be.
I'd be remiss to not reminder, this is Giving Tuesday. And your inbox probably looks like mine, littered to holy hell with solicitations from all kinds of worthwhile organizations. But to be fair, this is one of the wealthiest, most privileged rooms in Little Rock today. Let's just be honest about who we are and our opportunities that we have. If you're so inclined, Life Skills for Youth, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, Little Rock Athletic Foundation would accomplish 6th and goal. There are opportunities here that can, with your treasure, if you feel so moved, you can certainly invest there, and we can further direct you if you have questions about that. So I think we got it right here.
I think we need to close it out, guys. I appreciate you. I hate it, but we have a rule here. We shut down at 1 o'clock. So appreciate you guys being here. Jay, Mitch, Larry, Fitz, Raymond, you guys are amazing. Love what you're doing. It's an incredible part of what our community, what makes Little Rock so amazing. So thank you for investing in our youth. As Mitch said, there are ways you can plug in with these guys. If you want to be a football coach, you want to be a big brother. I was a big for several years. I just texted my little. He's been to law school and doing all kinds of cool stuff in Atlanta. And then of course, Larry's been an amazing partner with us for the literacy lab. We're reviving the Dunbar mentor opportunity. Talk to Dan Parker if you're interested in that. Talk to Mitch or Quentin if you're interested in Dunbar. Also talk to Mitch and Natalie if you're interested in the literacy lab. We want to get you plugged in starting in January. Guys, we do have gifts for all our speakers this year. Kind of following our literacy initiative, we are giving gifts to all our speakers, and we will give a sampling of these books to all area Little Rock School District resource centers and elementary school libraries. And they'll be at the end of the year, and your name will be listed among those in your honor to those entities. But as a token of our appreciation, we're giving you one of the books today. So each of you will get a book here. Larry, this one's yours right here. So we'll do a photo. And we got Raymond right here. And we've got, it's got to be yours, Fitz. These are books written by Little Rock connected authors. So kind of a nice tie-in for our literacy initiative. Remember, next week, no meeting here. Do sign up today for either the Broyles Award or a fireside chat. We'd love for you to participate in Rotary next week. And with that, thank you, everyone. We are adjourned.